Om Tat Sat. Welcome to Gyan Bhakti channel from Swami Nikhilananda. My humble prostrations to the all-pervading Brahman, to my worshipful Guruji, Swami Jyotirmayanandaji Maharaj, to Ram Parivar and all sages and saints, and to each of you divine soul watching today's satsang. We are currently studying Mysticism of Ramayana, commentary by my Guruji, Swami Jyotirmayanandaji Maharaj, narrated by myself, Swami Nikhilananda. Currently we are studying the mystical meaning of the marriage of Lord Shiva with Uma or Parvati Devi. So let's continue on that beautiful journey. Shiva's marriage procession continues even if a person runs away, even if he closes his eyes. No matter where he goes, the fright of the unknown hounds him. He may even run from one embodiment to another, but the unknown chases him with the marriage party of diseases, frustrations, and losses. However, those who are wise, they stop running and confront the reality of life by developing intuitive knowledge. It is those who have attained a high degree of consciousness and whose minds have become rid of illusions who can truly welcome Shiva and his attendants. So the rest of the ignorant people, like children, get scared by the external looks of Shiva and the Shiv gunas, and they run away here and there. The actual marriage of Shiva and Uma represents that union of yoga. Yoga means yuj or union, which is the goal of all human beings. What is the goal? For our individual soul to connect with the divine soul. It represents self-realization or liberation, which has been defined by different religions and philosophical systems in different ways. It represents the union of the soul, which is Jivatma, with God or Ishwar. The union of Kundalini Shakti, which is the energy, Kundalini Devi, with Shiva, and the union of Prakriti. That is the meaning, the material of nature aspect in one's personality, and Purusha, the spirit or absolute self. So we can think of it in any way. They all mean the same thing. Idea is union, and to connect our individual consciousness Prakriti with Purusha, or our Jivatma with Paramatma. According to Kundalini Yoga or Tantra Yoga, every individual soul or Jiva is in a state of bondage. It becomes free of that bondage by awakening Kundalini Shakti. Kundalini Shakti means serpent power. We have these 7 chakras within our body. You cannot see them physically. So doctors cannot dissect it open and say, here is this chakra, here is this chakra. These are mystical chakras, but they are within, and it's been well acknowledged, and it's a full science by itself. And each of these chakras are channels that, as we grow spiritually, these channels open up within us, leading us to higher and higher states of consciousness. But it takes effort to open these, and some people already have many of their chakras open based on their previous embodiments and what they have achieved, and some of us are doing it in this embodiment and so on. But that Shakti, and persuading her to move through the various chakras. So these chakras are Mooladhar, which is the base on the spine, then Swadhisthana, which is the water, a little bit between our navel and our reproductive organs, and the third one is called Manipur Chakra. It is in our navel center. The fourth one is called Anahata Chakra. It's in our heart center. Then comes Vishuddhi Chakra. It's in our throat. Then comes Agya Chakra, which is within on our in between our eyebrows, where you see my red spot. And then finally you have Sahasrara Chakra, which is at the crown of your head, and that is the 1,000-petaled lotus. Each of these chakras have a Devata, a Devi, a mantra, a root letter. It's a full science in itself, actually. But just to give you a general flavor here, that's what the union of Prakriti Devi, of the goddess with Shiva, and so it can all happen within your own body. So your body becomes a microcosm of the macrocosm, which is the universe. So that is where the union is complete, when the serpent power, that Shakti, which is goddess, reaches Shiva, and then she is married like Shiva and Uma. The union is a source of great rejoicing for the soul, for when Shiva and Shakti become one, the soul becomes liberated from the bondage of the world process. So while they are separated, we continue to be born again and again because of that separation and the lack of union. And once union is done, the project is over, and that is the essence that we are trying to understand and relish, enjoy. Further, the spiritual movement can be viewed as a twofold movement in which the ascent of Kundalini is accompanied by the descent, so to speak, of divinity. So as one advances spiritually and the mind and the intellect become increasingly pure, Kundalini rises higher and higher. So it's a process of purification of our inner self. Therefore, we say, don't speak lies, do good things, be holy, connect to God, don't worry about others. Just maintain a good, ethical, clean life and be happy. Eager to meet the ascending Kundalini, the divinity, figuratively speaking, responds by descending in the form of grace to catch hold the hand of the aspirant and lift him up. So God continues to help us when we are sincere on this path. We take one step, God takes 100. This is no joke. This is actually real. But in this material world, people are so caught up in sense pleasures, intoxications, things that are trivial and transient, and eventually the body dies, and thus we leave, and then we have to come back in another embodiment, and not knowing what we will get based on our karmas. It is certainly possible we could be demoted into a lower embodiment even, which means we don't get a human embodiment. That is why we say, make hay while the sun shines. This is a great opportunity where we can use our intellect and we immerse our life in good things, satsang, and transform ourselves. After marriage, Shiva and Uma, they dwelled in Kailasha, experiencing an ever-increasing delight that cannot be described in human language. It is beyond all concepts. Much in the same way, when the Kundalini Shakti reaches the Sahasrara Chakra and the two unite, that ecstasy is beyond all descriptions. This is a poetic portrayal of the fact that when pure intuition communes with the divine self, the spiritual bliss that results is boundless, ever new, and that is what is called mukti, self-realization, nirvana, God realization. In other words, the purpose for which we have this human body has been fully accomplished, and we have nothing more to do other than whatever is prarabdha of this body and eventually merge into cosmic consciousness. And even while we are alive, we continue to enjoy that nectar. But it is only to be experienced, since it can never be explained to anybody through these limited mind and senses. That is the point. On the worldly plane, where human consciousness is conditioned, happiness comes and goes. As time passes by and the senses grow dull, even objects that once delighted one's mind gradually become meaningless. There is usually increasing boredom in human life, and all the youthful expectations of the mind begin to dwindle as one faces the dark and dreary days of old age and death. And that is when it becomes challenging. Even our kids and stuff, they have to work, they have to earn their own money, and their time is limited. And so therefore all these nursing homes, old age homes have popped up, and yet we don't find time to spend with our elderly parents so much. So this is our journey. We have to make our life so rich, so holistically whole, that we are in constant bliss. Otherwise, old age comes and we live a dark and dreary life if all we have done is indulged in sense pleasures only. But this is not so when one's mind has scaled the heights of spiritual expansion. So this is totally contrary to the worldly people. Spiritual people are immersed in their japa, bhakti, bhajan, and they enjoy their life. Doesn't matter whether they are old or young, because they are already connected to the divinity who is the creator of everything. Because his delight is no longer dependent on the senses, but rather is the result of mental expansion, the delight experienced is endless. Bhuma means endless. The joy that never comes down, it keeps on expanding. Neither age nor any condition of the body nor any external circumstances can restrict one's joy when the soul has become one with God through intuitional unfoldment, and that is the bliss of Jivan Mukti or God realization. The fruit of the marriage of Shiva and Uma is the birth of Subramanya or Kartikeya. As the immensely powerful general of the divine army, Kartikeya brings about the end of the dreaded demon Tarakasur and allows peace and harmony to flourish once more. From the mystic point of view, Kartikeya represents the wisdom which frees the soul from the bondage of the world process by destroying ignorance once and for all. Ignorance is the ego. Once that goes away, then there is this full view of the divine self. So that is the satsanga for today, and tomorrow we will cover Shiva relates to Uma, the epic story of Rama. So I hope this nectar continues to permeate in every pore of our body, and I hope you are enjoying these satsangas, and let us continue this holy journey together and be immersed in bliss. This is Swami Nikhilananda. Om Tat Sat.